Next chapter. The Risha resume, But it is written, Eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. 1 Corinthians. This should have read, For them which love and bring forth the Christ of God. Few understand life's principle or the purpose of life. The understanding principle is that which stands under all things and is the principal thing. Therefore, it is a true proverb, with all thy getting, get understanding. Understanding conscious purpose underlies everything. It was this that brought forth so proficiently for Solomon. He asked that the foundation of understanding be given to him, and that an understanding heart be his. This opened to him such a fount of wisdom, and led him to such a position of power, that there were bestowed upon him such riches and honor that he was known as the king of 1,000 magnificent accomplishments. This has been symbolically spoken of as Solomon's 1,000 wives. In Solomon's time, a wife was a symbol of a great accomplishment, an omnipotent understanding which foresaw the whole history of the universe and its definite connection with humanity in each of its units. When Solomon gave out these accomplishments to his people and used them for their benefit, there were added to his store 3,000 more, and his gongs were 1,005, and God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceedingly much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. Solomon was not a king in the literal or temporal sense of the word. He was a king over himself and his own household. This kingship he did hold. From that throne he dispensed love, understanding, wisdom, justice, and abundance to all that asked for wise counsel. At that time all humanity was asking, and in response he received love, understanding, wisdom, justice, and abundance 1,000-fold. Although Solomon ruled over them with a rod that standeth upright like iron, it was a symbol of law that never fails. When that which he had sent out was magnified 1,000 times 10,000 and returned with the same power, the kingdom that Solomon held, though it were the whole earth, could not contain the richness of the reward of the law or Lord that knew the treasure of the Christ of God, when he obeyed the command that the self must come forth and obey God principle. Give with no thought of receiving, and you cannot compass the reward. First give love to God, then to all the earth. When that love returns, it has encompassed the whole earth and is magnified 1,000 times 10,000. And it has passed through the thoughts of millions of people, and each has increased it 1,000 times 10,000-fold. When it returns, is there room on earth for the fullness thereof? This alone has released earth, and heaven is the result. Harmony reigns supreme. Solomon commanded of himself that he do this with understanding, wisdom, justice, abundance, and great joy. What happened? The earth could not hold the abundance. It was earth no more. It was heaven. Do you wonder that those of Solomon's day called him a great king, a god? They fell down and worshipped Solomon, thinking that he could furnish them with every needed thing. This is where they erred. They did not realize that Solomon was the example that they should follow. God said unto Solomon, There shall be none like you in all the earth. There could be none like him on earth, for he had released the earthly estate. The heavenly estate was his, and therein reigned his people as kingly as Solomon reigned. He set forth God, the heritage of man, which they must follow. Could such a king condemn one of his kings to death, when by doing so he condemned himself to the same death, multiplied 1,000 times 10,000? Such a king ruled justly, not over other kings, but with kings, and there need be no pomp or glory of outer display. He need not even display his crown. All humanity knows of the crown. Such a king is a true ruler, not of the few, but with every human unit they rule with him. This is man and God reigning supreme. This is the house of Israel, when the house becomes the tree, the root, the branch, the twig, the leaf, the flower, and the perfume that the flower emits, the very spirit of all races. Such a race did inhabit this earth, and such a race will again inhabit this earth. I say unto you, you need not falter. Heaven is here, if each human unit will but make it so. As men refuse to heed the call, they will go out and return through birth into life, with its trials and tribulations, then through death again and again, until the lesson is finally learned that upon the rock of absolute spiritual perception, the whole human family is built. To such a race, death does not exist, nor can it again exist. Therefore, karma does not exist. Karma is but retribution for bringing into manifestation discord and inharmony. Substitute renunciation for retribution, and you correct the cause for karma. Remove the cause or substitute it by a higher condition, and the lower condition is erased. You have elevated the vibrations of your body above those which allowed karma to exist. Death in no way removes karma, neither does it destroy or erase it. Death adds to and magnifies karma many-fold, thus heaping it in great billows upon each human unit. The instant you let go of death and rebirth, you are free from death and karma. Both are erased. If erased, they are forgotten, they are forgiven. If at this stage the absolute permanency of life cannot be perceived, thus conceived and brought into being, then there is an ultimate remedy for the mistake of death, named reincarnation. Reincarnation is but a guiding light on the blind trail of death. When this light leads, death may be overcome through round after round of earthly experiences. Then, through the lessons which those experiences teach, we arrive at the accomplishment of letting go of man-made conditions, of creed or dogma that have been imposed upon us. Then we may again step forth into the full glory of God, into the light that is shining just as brightly, which has only seemed dim because we have wandered further from the Father's house, the house of our own true self, unalloyed by man-made creed and superstition. As we again approach the house, the light shines forth brighter with each advancing step, and as we enter, we find it aglow with light and with the same warmth and beauty which only seemed dim through our outlook. There again we shall find quiet, peace, and rest, and in these we must feast at will. The same would have been ours had we entered the house before we wandered, creed and superstition bound. At the end of the trail, all is forgotten and forgiven, as it could have been before the beginning. Stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord within you. Stand completely still in the physical, and see the complete salvation that the Lord Christ of God, standing forth as your true self, can give you. Thus I perceived and stated the law that Abraham made use of so long ago. It is just as true this day as it was at that time. Manifestations take form as they are conceived in thought, word, or action, according to your belief. If the thought is not good, the remedy is change your thought. Call those things that be not as though they were. There are many mistakes in translations from the original text to the context of your Bible, as well as many false prophecies. Many of these were brought about through lack of understanding of the characters and symbols with which the translators were dealing. These are excusable, as the translators were conscientious of their conclusions, and their conclusions were presented as ably as they were able to comprehend them. The greater majority, however, were base falsehoods, perpetrated deliberately to mystify, to mislead, and to subvert the original gospel of the house of Israel. The first name was Israel, meaning the crystal or pure white race. the first race that ever inhabited the world, the original or root race from which all other races sprang. This race was also designated as a pure light race in many instances, meaning ray or beam. From this race sprang the Aryan race. The greater portion of this subversion of the Bible came about or began in the 1st and 2nd centuries A.D., and this onslaught was directed in particular against the books of Daniel, Ezra, and Nehemiah. These misrepresentations were extended to the early works of Josephus and other books. They show conclusively that they were purposely perpetrated to hide well-known data that existed at that time, and instances that happened before that period. These falsifications were also instituted to destroy the definite chronological system and history preserved by the Israelites from the time consciousness began. Thousands of false histories of true events were written and substituted for originals, and large portions of true historical data were distorted and effaced. The Aryan race, a direct branch of this race, used this same chronological system, and it has been preserved by them in its purity. Through this system, these forgeries and superstitions can be readily traced. Thus, we are in possession of true and complete Hebrew chronology. We know these falsehoods were extended to Solomon and to his household of wives, as well as to many others of the 10-tribe house of Israel, its leaders, teachers, and counselors. After the division of this 10-tribe house into two, the root kingdom was known as the house or kingdom of Israel. The other was known as the tribe of Judah. While this tribe was of Israel, they were by no means all Israel. To hear Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob referred to as Jews is not only common error, but subversion, as only the descendants of Judah and those that came after could be called after his name, Jews. The term Jew was never applied to the 10-tribe house of Israel, nor to the 12 tribes of Israel. The Israelites were not Jews, but the Jews were a tribe of the Israelitish nation. When the tribes of Judah left Palestine and went into captivity, the name Jew was applied to their tribe. Those that are known to us today as Jews are the remnant of the tribe of Judah that returned to Palestine after they were released from captivity. Many of them had mixed their blood with the surrounding nations. Those that call themselves Jews today are less than 1/3 blood of the real tribe of Judah. Wherever the Jews have lived and mingled with the Israelites or Aryans, they have flourished, and it is to these nations that they owe their hardihood. As time goes on, the Jews will see that it is to these nations that they will be obliged to turn for protection and succor, and it behooves them to keep their house in order. That part of the tribe of Judah, which joined the Israelites in their migrations through Europe, are not a part of the race that are now known as the Jews. That portion can in no way be distinguished from the other Israelites that settled in the British Isles and elsewhere, and along the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, as through intermarriage and environment they have all lost their tribal characteristics. I was of this race, therefore I know. The Jews are with us. We can trace their history step by step, down the ages from the house of Judah to the tribe of Judah and down to the present day. They are one of the standing signs of the great race that has assisted in preserving the God ideal, until all races are restored into one race, with the Christ of God the controlling factor in each unit of that race, as it was before the great race began to disseminate and divide. It is not difficult to trace the migration of Israel from Jerusalem. The trails of those who settled in the British Isles are readily distinguishable, likewise that of the tribe of Dan. Their name and history, also the places where they settled, identify them. The Danube River, named from the tribe, is an open roadstead today, through which, after disseminating into tribes, divisions of these tribes came to Britain later as Danes, Jutes, Picts, and under other names as well. Thus they went into Scandinavia, Ireland, Scotland, and other countries, and under these various names they came to Britain, and thence to America. As they reached America, they are in their former homeland. In this land of their origin, they are fast losing their tribal identities, and are changing their language to the one language, and that language will be the one which they spoke when they departed. They have wandered from home for a long time, but they are back again to their homeland, and that land extends to South America, Australia, New Zealand, and the South Sea Islands, and is far flung as Japan and China.